Hey, what's up, everybody? Back again. Packers just got done playing the Chiefs, and they lost. But it was still exciting to watch them play. A lot of great things happened tonight that really kind of put the team in perspective from what it might be. So I'm excited to kind of go over what happened tonight. A lot of really good stuff out of all three different phases. Really, there's a lot of room for improvement on all three different phases too, but to start the game, the Packers, went up against basically the starting offensive line, starting offensive players, except for Patrick Mahomes, and then against the starting defense for much of the first quarter. Patrick Mahomes did come out at the beginning of the game as a tribute to Len Dawson. They did the choir alignment with the five offensive linemen standing behind the five position players, and then the quarterback facing all of them in front of them, like they did back in the '60s. Now they just do the big circle huddle like you see today. But so that was cool, kind of a cool tribute. Len Dawson did a lot for the game of football, and Patrick Mahomes was out there at least for that first initial delay of game. I think they ran the clock out, or they call something happened where they just kind of let it happen for the tribute. So cool to see Patrick out there. I thought for a second he was gonna play. He did warm up the whole time before the game, and then they put him out there for that first snap ish, and I thought he was going to start, but he did not. So is what it is. Packers actually got the ball first. They had a really poor kick return. Amari Rogers. The special teams is still struggling. Kick return was tough. They didn't get many yards. Kick coverage was tough. They gave up too many yards. Punt coverage was poor. They gave up too many yards. But punting, Pat O'Donnell boomed like a 70-yarder, a 5-second 70-yarder. Then he had another 60-yarder, and then another long one. So Pat O'Donnell is in mid-season form already. I think he is going to be a huge asset for the Packers this year, but that was really the only bright light when it came to special teams tonight. There wasn't a lot of flash plays, a lot of flash plays by the Chiefs, and a lot of field turners and things like that, things that are not going to help this defense, and we really want the defense to be in the best position they can be. The starters just really haven't played all all preseason really, so we don't really know where they're at as a unit. We know what they look like on paper, and they're exciting. So the only guy from that starting unit really of the defense that played tonight was Quay Walker, the rookie out of Georgia. The number 7. It's cool seeing the number 7 back out there on the defense. Not back out there, but out there anyway. I think the last 7 I remember is Mikowski, so that was a long time ago, and yeah, it's just cool to see Walker out there. But for the first quarter or so, his name was called like 4 times. I saw him sprint from the middle of the field to the very left side of the field by the end zone and meet the running back out of the backfield before he even knew what hit him. It looked like it could have been a big play, but Quay covered that ground so fast that the running back really caught the ball and was down that second. So it was about 7 yards short of the first down when it looked like it could have been an easy first down. Just showing how quick Quay Walker can cover field, and just really exciting. And then on other plays, covering a receiver, he got way out there. Would have been nice if he was a second earlier, but he really made a nice play. And then a few other times just in there on the tackle, tackle for a loss or a short gain. So really stepping up. Quay Walker looks like it's kind of coming together for him. It looks like he's starting to figure out the speed of the game, and he can just react instead of having to think too much. So really exciting to see his growth. He's one of those first rounders like Devontae Wyatt that we really need to see this year. But we know with rookies, they don't always bounce or pop right away. Some guys take a little while. So the talent is there for sure with Wyatt. I just haven't seen a whole lot on the field, but Walker really showed up today. That was just really exciting to see how good he played. It was really a fun time just seeing him roam the field like he is, and then thinking about, okay, well, Campbell's going to be out there with him too. What kind of setup does that look like? I think it's going to be really just an explosive defense when it comes to making big plays, getting to the quarterback, making guys fumble, or causing errors just because they're in the right spot or with their speed. So excited. We haven't had guys with that size and speed in the middle for a long time. Nobody's really had speed like that, Nick Barnett, AJ Hawk, Blake Martinez, Jake Ryan, guys like that never really had the speed that Walker and Campbell have. So to have two guys in the middle that are basically the same size and athleticism, that's huge for this defense. I'm excited to see what they can do. But the Chiefs got on the board first. The Packers had a few drives early that struggled to get the ball moving. It seemed like Love was a little bit nervous. Maybe just the pressure was a little off, or the protection was a little off. Pressure was in his face, so he was struggling to get some things going. He started doing some dump off passes to the running back Tyler Goodson. Looks like he just locked himself a spot up on this roster. I'm super excited for the kid. He's Mr. Football in Georgia, and then he went to Iowa, undrafted, kind of undersized. The report on him coming out was that he ran too upright, but at 5'9", he's already low. And then, he's such a good pass catcher out of the backfield. He really is. He really had a lot of nice catches. A few that he couldn't really turn much into, but some other ones where it was really a big play. There was one play where it was a swing pass to the right, and he had Juwan Winfrey out front blocking. And Winfrey, this guy, he blocked so well on this play. It sprung Goodson for a 12-yard first down, and just that's what we need out of our receivers on the outside, is to be able to block. That's what LaFleur's system is about. That's why Alan Lazard is such a big deal. He's 6'5". He's probably the best blocking receiver in the game of football, or in the NFL right now. So for Winfrey to come out and really kind of step up and show that he can block too, that might have iced his spot on the team too. I'm excited that there's so many receivers that are willing to get in there and block, and not all these guys are willing to do that. So big play there. This was the drive that started to get going. I think it was the third drive of the game or so. Maybe it was the fourth, but he started getting some nice routes going and hitting the open guy. There was a nice pass to Winfrey across the middle for 8 yards. He got past the 50. And then on an amazing play action fake. This was a sweet play. I'm going to try to post it if I can find it. A 13-yard pass from Love to Daubs. Daubs really had a great route, just broke it off a little early, came back to the ball, which is so important for these young guys. You got to be able to come back to the ball. If you don't start coming back, it kind of leaves the defender room to get ahead of you. So you come hard back to the ball, get there first, make sure that you kind of box out the defender and make the catch. Big, strong guy like Daubs, 6'2", he can handle doing that job, and he really looks good. He didn't have a touchdown tonight, but you can tell that he's ready to go, making big plays, running against some of those first-team Kansas City defensive guys. So that's huge. That's really going to help LaFleur and Goody kind of make an assessment on some of these guys that they were looking at just because of the talent they were going up against. Because, the Chiefs, they're kind of a Super Bowl favorite at this point with Mahomes. So since Mahomes isn't out there, it's a way more different team, but still it's the Chiefs. So they're pretty much from top to bottom, they have a really good roster. And so for our guys, our twos, our threes, our fours to go up against some of them was really a good experience, and it just helped a lot to see how they performed and see if they're ready to get to that level, or if maybe they're more of a developmental piece. So we'll see how that goes. It was just super fun because there's a lot of guys that are just hanging it all out there and really trying to do what they can. So after that 13-yard pass to Daubs, then there was a 24-yard run for a touchdown by Tyler Goodson, squeezed through the middle. He really had a lot where he just kind of went through the line and popped out the other side. And this time he kind of scampered around a few little moves, and he got into the end zone, which was a really good run. It looked like he was going to get tackled, and he just stayed on his feet, stayed upright, kept moving forward, and scored a touchdown. So that, to me, sealed his spot on the roster. He already showed what he can do as a pass catcher. Now he's running the ball. He's scoring touchdowns, breaking tackles, and he just looks really ready to play. Like I said, super excited about him. Obviously, he's going to be behind Jones and Dillon, but it's still nice to have a guy back there that can catch passes. He can run it if you need to. And I think now with him, they're going to keep him. And then Patrick Taylor played well. I think they'd probably keep Patrick Taylor too. I liked him last year. I like him this year. So we'll see how that goes. There's a lot of decisions to be made in the next couple of days here. So yeah, then there was right after the touchdown, there was a big blown coverage. Right after Tyreek Carpenter made a really nice, impressive tackle in the open field on one of their receiver tight ends, I think. And so I was really impressed with the closing speed and just the wrap up and the tackle and the drive through and all that. Carpenter looked really good. And then on the next play, Rico Gafford kind of was hoping he had help behind him, which would have been Carpenter. And the tight end kind of got past both of them. And probably the most open touchdown he'll ever get in his entire life. So, well, whatever. So then after that, Jordan Love really came back firing. He looked really crisp tonight, throwing it on a line, making good decisions, being, mobile enough to make some plays and get out of the pocket. I don't think his throw on the run was very accurate. I think he struggled, completing it when he went outside. But this throw to Samari Toure, Samari made a heck of a catch. It was a pretty deep one. He got, long ball. And I don't know the yardage, probably 35 yards or so. So Samari caught it. He kind of ping-pong balled around in between some guys and got bumper ball down to the 1 yard line. So I thought it was a touchdown. He kind of fell in, but it looked like he was close. So I don't know. He was kind of on the line, but it was really a nice throw, a great catch. Samari is showing what he can do. I like the kid. I think that he's got good size at 6'1". He's faster than people think, and he's been making plays, so it's going to be hard to keep him off this roster too. That's 8 receivers with Winfrey and Toure, so I think that's not how you pronounce his name. I heard it tonight, but so many announcers call it differently. I got to hear like him say it, so maybe he'll get interviewed if he makes his team, and we can all figure out his name. But Samari is what I'll go with for now. I hate pronouncing it wrong, but he just, a kid out of Montana. That's a small school, and then I know he went to Nebraska and played well, but still, he's a guy that was kind of a long shot as a 7th rounder, but has really proven that he can play. So really exciting. And then it says they were at the 1 yard line. This kind of sucked because it was right before the 2-minute warning. There was a few penalties, and Patrick Taylor got, dragged some guys a few yards down to the 1 yard line. Then there was an illegal formation, and then, Love tried to force it into Tyler Davis, and he couldn't catch it. So looked like there was an illegal hands to the face. It was just a mess down there at the goal line, and we got a field goal out of it. Ramiz Ahmed made all his kicks tonight. That's all you can ask for. This one was only a 23-yarder, so not too big of a deal, but made both extra points, and he looked like he played really well. So then here's where I was impressed the most tonight. I think it is Amari Rogers. The guy finally stepped up and did something in a game. He had more catches tonight, well, the same amount of catches tonight as he did all of last season. He had 4 for 39 yards, which is crazy. He had 17 yards rushing, which they threw him in the backfield on some, sweet plays and some, misdirection and things like that. And Amari really ran well. I think that's the spot for him to be kind of. I don't want to take the ball out of Jones and Dylan's hand too much, but some of these gadget plays where you kind of set it up for him to kind of sneak out the backside, I think those are plays where he can really be utilized. But then he started catching balls out as a receiver. He made a really nice catch on 3rd and 10. Love drilled it. This guy's got a cannon for real. He drilled it. It looked like it was going to be picked or incomplete. It looked like one of the two. It looked like it wasn't going to be a catch, and Amari Rodgers came down with the ball. That was the most impressive catch for me tonight, probably. Just really in between defenders and came out with the ball. So, especially for a guy who's undersized and kind of on the bubble and really needed to show up, he showed that he can do it, and he looked really good out there, just, making plays all over the field, just running the ball after the catch and getting as many yards as he can. He's a tough guy to bring down, so he's a guy to watch for sure. I think he can have huge success after having not too much last year. He's the guy that, you hope he does. You hope he can make the squad and do really well, but we'll see how it goes with him. So, so the offensive line, that was pretty solid all night. Yash came in at left tackle. Then he had John Runyon Jr. at left guard. Then Josh Myers at center. And then he had Jake Hansen at right guard. And then at right tackle was Royce Newman. Throughout the game, they kind of rotated. They brought Zach Tom in. I think he was in at right guard then. Jake Hansen moved into center. Then Yash came out and Caleb Jones came in at left tackle. Looked like he played pretty well. All around, the offensive line played really well tonight. Then Sean Ryan, I think, came in at left guard. So there's a lot of moving parts, and it looked for the most part that Love and Danny Etling came in for the fourth. Both these guys really had a lot of time, were able to make throws. Going up against, it's tough for Danny Etling because, he's not really going to throw the ball too much against these defenses right now. But these guys are all trying to get on the team. They made some cuts, so these are the final 80 guys. Towards the end of the game, it was Danny Etling's show, and he was really getting Sal Cannella involved, which for a guy who's kind of on the bubble, for him to kind of make some plays, get a first down, catch the ball, run after the catch, get some yards. So he's got some speed and some quickness. He actually ran a little horizontal to get upfield a little more, and it worked. So he was the guy that really kind of showed me something tonight too. I liked what I saw out of all the tight ends. Really, they played pretty good. Tyler Davis had an okay night. No real mistakes. A nice catch, though, on like a 15-yard out for a first down. That was probably his best play in a preseason game so far. I think it was a 16-yard deep out. So really exciting for him just to kind of get in the action. DeGuara was targeted early, but I don't think he was in much of the game. Love played well. I think he was like 16 to 24 for 120 yards or something like that, something close to that. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And for Love, it's improvement from last year. He was 12 of 24. Now he's 16 of 24. So he made a few extra, plays. Obviously, he threw an interception, but the interception really was, it was 3rd and 5 from about his 50-yard line. 30 seconds or so left to go in the half. And then, when he finally threw the ball, there wasn't much time left, so he went for it. He threw a deep one. It was kind of triple coverage, but it was a single high safety at first, and that's what Love read. And then they sent back the other guy, so it was a 2 high, kind of that Tampa 2. And then so Love thought it was just going to be single high. He thought he could hold the guy off. And so he threw it thinking he could lead the receiver to the spot. And that other safety was lurking, was able to just go over the top and make the easy pick. So, that introduced Jordan Love to the Tampa 2. So I guess now he'll know. Hopefully he learns from that and doesn't do it again. But like I said, it's a play where right before the half, it would have been a long field goal if you would have been able to get closer, but still it would have been a long field goal. They only had 1 timeout in their pocket, so not a whole lot to work with there. If they would have been closer, maybe they would have had them do, maybe not ran that route. Coach called the play for a guy to go deep, so, maybe every play has a guy going deep if he wants to, but pretty much it looks like that was the go-to guy. He was double covered kind of either way, and then it was triple covered by the guy that picked it off. So, but still, Love looked really good. He had so many really nice throws, super accurate, calm, kind of knew what his protection was, knew what his reads were, could read the defense well, made nice throws. And then his athleticism to get out of the pocket and kind of roll around was really impressive tonight, especially near the end zone. We were backed up a lot early, and this guy, was right at his feet about at the 1 yard line. He kind of shaked him and got away, got up, he got back to the line of scrimmage, I think. I think they gave him a loss of 1, which I wouldn't have, but they did. So counted as a sack, but he really fought for like 8 yards to not make it a sack. So he got one more yard, he would have been okay. So still a really nice play, just the fact that he was able to show that athletic ability and get out of a jam kind of, and as he learns more and more, he'll be able to get out of those jams and then look downfield and find a guy and make the throw. A few times there, he'd, just not have his feet set and have a really short throw, or he was just trying to be too cautious because he didn't really have a lot open early on in the game when the Chiefs had their starting defense out there. It was pretty tough, sledding especially, just because none of our starters were out there. It's definitely a competition difference there. So, but cool thing about these preseason games is during the little breaks here and there, they interview different Packers And they brought up Rashawn Gary, and this guy's super humble. Everybody's talking about him having a huge year, and he's just going out and working, wants to do what he's got to do. But he was just really showing and explaining how important it is to really pass on the Packers, mantra and what they're all about and who they are as an organization, and show these young guys what it means to be a Green Bay Packer. And I just love to see that out of him. A guy that came out and people, were kind of questioning his, work ethic and his, how serious he was about football, because it came so easy to him coming out of high school. He was #1 recruit coming out of high school, went to Michigan. His athletic ability stood out, but he kind of always leaned on that. It didn't seem like he worked too hard otherwise. And coming to Green Bay, having the Smith brothers mentor him, really took this guy under his wing and turned him into this leader that he is, and a guy who's, I think really can produce this year. I think he's going to have a big year. I'm calling 15 sacks. So, we'll see how that goes. That's less than 1 a game still. Remember, there's 17 games. So he had a few games where he had like 2 or 3 sacks. So, if you have a couple of those, they add up quickly, you know what I mean? So we'll see. It could be a crazy year for these Packers. They're just so elite all around. And then, they interviewed Rodgers again, and he's really excited about these young receivers. He likes what he sees, from the rookies. He likes what he sees from Lazard stepping up, and Sammy Watkins is playing well. Having Randall Cobb out there, he looks better than ever, probably the most healthy he's been in a while. And then, Amari Rogers starting to come into his own a little bit. All I kept seeing was, Amari with the catch. Oh, that was Amari with that catch, So that was kind of the go-to guy almost tonight. Not so much Dobbs. And we didn't see Christian Watson at all, really. I thought we'd see him. LaFleur said if he was good to go, he'd play. Looks like he wasn't good to go. I don't think he played. I didn't see him on the stat sheet at all. I'm going to look real quick and see if I can just see his name. Yeah, I don't see his name at all. So I just don't think he was out there tonight, which is a bummer because I wanted to see him. There's a lot of guys who aren't going to make the team who were trying to play and make it. And, this guy sits out this whole time and he makes it. But that's why you get drafted high, because it kind of gives you that, seniority on staying on the team. But there was a lot of nice plays with Juwan Winfrey tonight. He just plays really well. So I think this guy's going to squeeze his way on the team, which I don't know what the Packers are going to do when it comes to all these players and where they want to put them. It's a good problem to have, but you don't want to lose guys that are valuable and that could really be assets to this team. It was crazy tonight with our punter, Pat O'Donnell. If he can punt like this, it was 90 degrees in Kansas City. If he can punt like this all year, I know when it gets cold, the ball gets harder. It's going to be harder to kick. It won't go as far. But he had a 70-yarder, a 60-yarder, like a 57-yarder. This guy kept booting them. And that's a huge weapon to have. You know what I mean? So I'm really excited about that. Jack Coco looked like he was snapping great. No issues on snaps when it came to punts or field goals. This guy might have a lock for that job. That would be cool. I like the name. I just think that, the story's great. And for a kid that like him that came out of nowhere, really, to make this roster as a long snapper after not doing it since high school, that'd be pretty cool. But, there's other areas to work on. We need to figure out the coverage thing on punts and kicks. So we'll see how that goes. But otherwise, it seemed like the operation of things was pretty good. Just like what I saw at O'Donnell. So just shouting him out because he's a guy that we're going to need, to flip the field and kind of on the days where the offense isn't going or clicking right. He's a guy that can keep us in it because he'll keep our defense, on the other side of the field, keep backing the other offense up and make it difficult. So something to watch for, how this punt team and kickoff team progress over the season. Hopefully we get better. We can't be giving up 50-yard returns every single game. That's not going to win you a lot of football games. So the player of the game on defense, I kind of pick Amari Rogers for player of the game on offense, but Tyler Goodson was good too. So maybe those two guys, offensive player of the games, and then defensive player of the game, Quay Walker at first, the first half kind of, but the second half defensive player of the game. There wasn't a lot of turnovers or fumbles tonight. The only almost turnover really was from Jack Heflin. Popping the ball out on a tackle for a loss where the ball went like 5 yards in the backfield, and luckily the Chiefs guy got it back, but Could have easily been Packers football. That was a huge play. And then there was a 4th and 1. 4th and 1. Chiefs in the middle of the field. Everybody knows it's going to be a handoff. They had just handed off before and got close, so now they're even closer. 4th and 1. Andy Reid's going to run the same play up the middle, basically, just trying to pound the rock, get that 1 yard. They had done it before with the fullback, and he got it. A guy who's, a journeyman fullback, been on 6 teams in 8 years. Was 8 for 8 last year on 1 yard runs for first downs. And then I don't know who they gave the ball to. I don't think it was that fullback. I think it was the smaller little running back, number 10, that they gave it to on that play. But either way, Jack Heflin, this guy, he was on the team last year. He's looking for a roster spot. This is the way to get it. He led the team in tackles as a defensive tackle in this preseason game. And then on this play, after, this was before he made the guy fumble, he busted through on that 4th and 1 so fast that literally the running back got it, closed his arms, looked up, and Heflin was in his face, taking him down. And Heflin's a big boy. He's a big boy. Well, let me tell you, this guy crushed this little number 10. The guy is undersized as it is for a running back, or for NFL player as it is. So Heflin destroyed him. Probably 2 or 3 yard loss. Packers ball. So that was pretty impressive. That was probably the most impressive defensive play, really. The defense only gave up 17 points. They did pretty good this preseason when it comes to, points per game average, I think. I think it was 20 the first game, and then last week, or it was, what they do against New Orleans? Was it like 7? Oh, we won 20-10. Okay, so that was only 10. So, and then this week 17. So pretty good for the defense, especially with all the different parts and moving guys and different levels of depth chart players and all those things. Players not playing with guys that they played with as much, just because they're rotating so many guys in and out. So really kind of a cool night, just because we got to see the guys that we wanted to see kind of step up. Devontae Wyatt still looks explosive. I like his grit and his athleticism, but it seems like his angles are a little off. He's just over pursuing a little too much, gets a little ahead of himself. If he can just kind of clean that up a little bit, this guy could be really explosive. I loved what I saw out of him. It just takes time for guys to develop, and all these guys do it at different rates, and some guys catch on quicker. So it really is a matter of time. If you see the talent, like with Jordan Love, he went 12 of 26 or 12 of 24 last week, 16 of 26 this week. He's getting better. I thought it was 16 of 24, but it's 16 of 26. So, but still not bad at all. So something to watch for. See what Love can do if he ever gets another chance to start a game. If anything happens to Rodgers, knock on wood. But after all this experience, all this extra time, I think he's going to be a lot more comfortable when he does get a chance. Who knows? Maybe Seattle will offer DK Metcalf in a trade for him, but I doubt it. But you never know, because he did look good tonight. So then, Samari Toure. I keep pronouncing his name wrong, but he had 6 catches for 83 yards. That's crazy for a guy that is probably the 8th receiver on this the depth chart to come out and play so well tonight. He had that long pass, but then he had a lot of nice little catches, and 6 grabs is that's a lot for anybody, really. So big day for him, a really exciting output, and just guys really making their push to be on this roster. On the defensive side of the ball, there wasn't a lot of sacks or there was no interceptions. It was pretty underwhelming when it came to the defensive performance. I wish I would have seen more. I don't think we had any sacks at all. The only forced fumble, like I said, was Jack Heflin. Not a lot of guys had a lot of tackles. Isaiah McDuffie, who had been leading the team in tackles with 12, only had 2, I think, or 3 total. So it just... Amari Rogers had a tackle. So for your middle linebacker to only have 2 or 3, that's not enough. To have a defensive tackle be leading the team, that's not what you want to see. That means that too many of the running plays got farther downfield than you'd want. And, I guess, Micah Abernathy, he had 4 too. So he's a safety. I guess he played well. He really played well. He's a guy that I like. With the injury with Vernon Scott and with Darnell Savage being out, he got a chance to step in and play. He looked pretty good tonight. Keandre Thomas, he had some really good coverage. They called him for a pass interference, but he had some really good coverage on the play. I didn't think it was interference, but they called it anyway. And then there was another play where it was a holding, I think, on one of the offensive linemen. They rotated out so much, but I think it was Etling throwing it. And this catch by Ishmael Hyman, he got up so high inside of the defender, but he jumped so high and snagged that ball right out of the air. Really good catch for Hyman. Too bad it didn't count, but at least, that video is still on tape. Just because it didn't count in the game doesn't mean the catch doesn't count for the coaches. So that was a big play. He really stepped up and did well. I just liked what I saw out of a lot of these guys. Travis Fulgham got into the game. He was on a few rosters around the league. He had a big 4-week span with the Eagles a couple years ago where he had a bunch of catches, like 30 catches or something. So he's the guy that has talent. I don't think he'll make the team, but he got in the mix. Caught a pass and looked pretty good doing it. So from top to bottom, there was a lot of good things and a lot of things to like. Like I said, the special teams is still an issue, going to be a struggle. Jordan Love, 148 yards tonight, though. Oh, he didn't throw a touchdown. He just had a pick. So I forgot that was a run in from Tyler Goodson, not a pass, because he had been swing passing it to him so much. That's my mistake. But 16 to 26, 61.5 completion percentage. Last week he was 50%. So that's really nice to see. Danny Etling, though, 10 of 13 for a 76% completion percentage and 97 yards with a QBR of 104.7 for Danny Etling. That's pretty incredible for a guy to come in the fourth quarter. He's playing against the backups, but still, they're still NFL players. They're still NFL talent, and this guy's 6'6" and he can sling it. So, that was cool to see, just to have him out there. He's the guy that is going to be on the practice squad. He's kind of a super developmental piece for these Packers, but it's just really starting to come together. Amari Rogers' name just kept popping up. Nice 10-yard grab. Third down, 10 yards. A 3rd and 10, just that catch was so good. I got to find it for you guys. It was really, really an awesome throw and an awesome grab. Like I said, I thought it was going to be picked. He figured out a way to do it. That throw to Samari, too, was really good. Love had a lot of good throws. This guy has an arm. He can sling it. He just puts the ball where it needs to be. None of them were really close to being intercepted. One where Dobbs kind of faded down the sideline a little more than he should have, and Love was trying to do a back shoulder, and the defender was kind of in the middle of the two guys. But the defender dropped it. He was kind of falling backwards. It would have been tough for him to grab, but still, for the most part, he played really well. That interception, like I said, was kind of a Hail Mary type of situation at the end there, right at half at the 50-yard line. So, maybe he could have found a way to get the first down and figure out a way to use that timeout and get something, but he was trying to go for it all. He thought he had his guy. Just turned out that the defense tricked him. So, it is what it is. Like I said, it's a learning experience, but all in all, really exciting night for, Samari and Amari Rogers, Quay Walker, and it's just these guys stepping up. Like I said, Tuesday is final cuts, 53-man roster, 16-man practice squad. It's just times now. I don't know how many full practices the Packers have before now and then. I'm sure they're going to have at least a couple, but Tuesday is going to be here before we know it. They'll have off likely tomorrow, Friday, and they should be back at it on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then Tuesday's their final cut. So we will see how it goes. Again, the Packers lost 17-10 against the Chiefs in Kansas City, but it was preseason, so a lot of good things out of this game and a lot of things that they can learn from. So all in all, it was a good night. Didn't come out of there with any major injuries. I don't think anybody got injured on either team, so that's really awesome. It looks like these guys are getting ready to play. The offensive line has been getting a lot of time together. So whether Bach can't go, or if Jenkins can't go, or if they both can't go, I think Jenkins will be fine. But if they have, for any reason, have to rotate guys in and out, this offensive line is stacked from about, the number 1 on the depth chart to about 8 or 9 guys that can play. So I look for this offensive line to be fine all year. I look for these receivers to be good all year. These running backs are going to be awesome, and this defense is going to be elite. This Packers team is going to be a force, and I'm just calling it now that I really think they're going to go deep into the playoffs. I think that they kind of figured out what was missing before, and it looks like this squad has everything you need to be successful. Guys that can rush the passer, guys that can defend the pass, guys that can, get open, and you have the battering ram and the scat back type guys in the backfield. Two guys that have totally different skill sets but can give you the equal production. A.J. Dillon was calling for 1,000 yards for both guys this season, which to me should be easy. That's only 59 yards per game average, which seems like something very doable for Dillon and Jones. They could have 1,000 yards each rushing and, almost a couple hundred yards receiving. That would be pretty incredible. But they could each have over 1,200 yards combined, rushing and running, if they, divvied up between the two. Not out of the question at all. Jones could have almost 70 catches. I think that'd be pushing it, but depending on how these receivers come on, it could be the Aaron Jones show. A lot of these games, we saw what he could do the last few playoff games, and we know what he can do in the regular season. So he's a guy that is dynamic. This team has players on all levels, all positions, and there's, guys behind them that are, just as good or almost as talented. So it's this team, like I said, Goody really stacked, and it looks like they're going to be really a tough out this year. So I'm excited. I hope you're excited. I will be back again as soon as I get more Packer info, and thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you next time. Go Pack, go. Peace.